What's up, guys? Welcome to the Spike at Home series, the first ever indoor practice. Goal here is to get you guys spiking and teach you guys a couple of things that you can do in order to up your practice game in quarantine. I know we're all super bummed about not being able to play tournaments. Nobody more so than me, I promise you. But we get an opportunity to kind of work on some skills here, so make sure you're spiking and taking advantage of this time as well. So what I've done here is I've cleared out my basement. This has been my project for about the last week. If you guys saw this, it was an absolute disaster. You guys can follow that whole journey on my Instagram. See Horn Spikes there. My name is Chris Hornacek, and I am a professional spikeballer. I do this full time. So I'm a little out of a job right now, but I'm sure a lot of you guys are too. So I've cleared out a little practice space here. You'll see here, I'll kind of take you through a setup here. So I've got serving circle right here, and then the other thing that we're going to be using is that corner back here. That's going to be my blank wall that I'm able to hit against. So when you are looking for what you guys are doing at home, you're going to want to try and find a wall that you're able to hit against at a minimum. If you have a corner, that's super ideal for a couple of drills. I'll show you modifications, obviously, if you don't have a corner. Obviously you'll need a Spikeball net and as many balls as you can get your hands on here. So I've got about 7. So that is what I've got here. So make sure you gather up some spike balls, find your nets. Before we start this too, I want to clarify that although I am a pro player, we're going to keep this pretty basic here. I want this to be attainable for literally any baller. So whether this is your first time actually seeing competitive content, or whether this is, you're one of my, friends who I compete against in the pro bracket, you're going to be able to do this. It's just kind of a get up and get moving type of thing. I'm actually going to be live streaming some more specific ones on my Twitch channel next week. I'm going to be doing an intermediate, advanced, and premier/pro next week. So make sure you go follow that, twitch.tv/chornspikes. Okay, let's go over some of the basics real quick. So first of all, make sure you've got your materials. I want to make sure that everyone kind of has the same equipment. We're all working with the same things here. Spikeball net, obviously you're going to want to build this as sturdily as you can. And you're going to want to make sure that you have as many squares as possible. You want these to look like squares. If they look like diamonds or they look kind of warped like something over here, readjust your net. Make sure that it's not too tight. The ball shouldn't spring up all that much unless you're really hitting it hard. General rule is if you drop it from about 5 feet, it should bounce up about 20 inches, which is just about 1.5 feet. So make sure your net's not overly stretched. Make sure your spike balls aren't overly inflated as well. Whether you have pro balls or regular balls, balls should have a little bit of give to them. They shouldn't be too much bigger than an adult palm, so it should fit right in there. So make sure these things are squeezed. If you've inflated it to capacity, you've gone way too far. So that's what we're working with here. Before we start, let's hit a couple of stretches while we just talk about some stuff. I always like to keep my shoulder nice and fresh, so going into this, make sure you at least do some shoulder stretches. Ideally, you want to throw in a couple of squats as well, just to get yourself, limber. Definitely do that. But arm health is super important in all this. You're going to be swinging a lot today because offense and serving are the easiest things to work on in your basement, especially with a wall. So stretch those out a little bit. I'm going to go re-chat for a little bit, but keep stretching it out. See what you guys are up to. Seems like it's all just spike ball right here. So yeah, I want this to be interactive too, so make sure you guys are typing some stuff in the chat. I've got some moderators in there that are going to be answering questions. I'll throw some questions to me to specifically answer as well. And that's going to be how we do this in general. All right, just gonna get a couple squats in, just so we're able to get nice and low on the hits. And then we're gonna take the net over to the wall is where we're gonna start. So I'm gonna take you over to my corner here. corner of the lab. Beautiful. Okay. So, if you got a corner, this is super ideal. I'll show you the corner drill first. You want to throw your net in. You want to be about 2 feet away from each of the walls here. So you want to have plenty of space. Don't put it directly in the corner. Give yourself a little bit of space there. I'm going to take this light bulb out so I make sure I don't hit it with my head. That would be just a bad way to start this all off, right? So we're just going to do some real simple stuff. We're going to work on right-handed hitting, and then we'll go into left-handed hitting. So right-handed stuff, we're just going to do 3 touches and hits off the wall. So real simple, probably seen this drill. This is about as basic as it gets. Perfect starting place for any warm-up though. So you're just going to hit against the wall. 1, 2, third one. So try and pass that first one with your right hand, that second one with your off hand, or with your left hand, and then third off the net. Or at least alternating. So we're just looking at, for a real basic thing here, we're just going through the general motions. As you get moving here, get a little bit lower. And keep it going off the wall. So find a little bit of a rhythm with that. Main thing that you're working on with that is just getting in touches. We're just trying to get a bunch of repetitions in, as many as we possibly can, really, really quickly. This is just going to work on your hand coordination, work on your touch a little bit, and get things going there. So we're going to go at that for, I don't know, about a minute, and then we'll switch over to the left hand. Getting too easy for you, challenge yourself to get a little bit lower on all of these hits. Set yourself over the net, maybe move it a little bit further away from the wall so you can take a little bit of a bigger swing. And hit the ball nice and low. That's also too easy for you. Do 2 touches instead. So your first one has to also be your set, so you don't get a 1, 2, 3. Instead you just get a 1, 2. Something a little bit more like that. All right, right hand's good. Let's head over to the left here. So I'm going to work with the other corner. If you don't have a corner, just flip around your net here. So if I was still using that same wall, I would just come over here and do that. Otherwise, I'm going to do this off of this wall too, just because it's an easier wall. So same thing, start with 3 touches, make it real easy, find a little bit of a rhythm here. This is basically like almost like a pepper in volleyball. You're just working on a bunch of touches, working on the basics and the fundamentals here, not doing anything too difficult. We're just warming up. If anyone's got any questions in chat, throw those in here. After the next one, I'm going to come over and answer some questions. Also, just for reference, if you have some time, comment what skill level you're at. Like if you entered a tournament, what bracket would you enter? Your options are usually intermediate, advanced, premier, pro, if applicable, obviously, but obviously at that point you're just premier. Just so I know kind of what we're working with skill-wise. All right. Keep going on that. Oh, I can get rid of this. Let's go, huh? Ah, Mr. Daly's in here. What's up, my dude? We got some premier ballers in here. That's all good. That's all good. Once you got that left hand all warmed up, now this is the perfect one for a corner. Otherwise, you're gonna have to do a little bit more running in general. So you're gonna do your right hand, then your left hand. So now you're not just working on the basics, you're also working on some footwork around the net. So if you got a corner, you're gonna have a little less footwork. If you don't, you'll have a little bit more. So if you have a corner, you're just gonna do a right hand, right, left, left. So you're just moving around that 90 degrees to get to that. Again, mostly just working on control here. Don't have to do anything crazy with your hits. Just working on those real standard things. A little bit of a warm up, gonna get the heart rate going too. Just some basic things. Missed the flicky. We got Wyatt in here. Kieran, what's up? Advance. Wait to be as good as you one day. Appreciate that. All right, so if you have one wall, I'll demo that as well. I'm gonna use this as my main wall. You gotta get all the way around. That's the biggest difference. So you're gonna do a right hand. You got a left. So you gotta end up all the way on this side of the net now. Then do a left. 1, 2. That's the one wall variation right there. How's everyone doing? How's everyone doing? Really need this stuff. You learn how to warm up. Yeah, so that's one of the biggest things, like even at the top level, and I fall for this all the time too, where I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go practice, and then I just start swinging at serves, and I'm like, all right, doing massive cuts. That's how you blow out your shoulder, and like a lot of people aren't really taking care of that. And so especially right now, you can kind of build up a lot of this stuff and not injure yourself. And also just, it never hurts to get a ton of reps in. Reps are very undervalued in our sport, in my opinion. So get out there and get your reps. All right, a couple more here. Do a quick flip. All right. All right, hitting officially warmed up here. I'm gonna flip you over to this cam real quick. There we go. Okay, so this is just gonna be real simple setting stuff. We're just gonna work on dexterity more than anything else. So just a simple back and forth here. I know this might even seem like far too easy and boring. If you wanna spice up your life a little bit, walk around your house while doing this. There have been times that I've just like put one at the top of the stairs or the bottom of the stairs, and anytime I'm going somewhere, feel like if I gotta go upstairs to go grab something, just get a couple of touches in there. It's all good. In terms of setting position and stuff like that, almost all your setting you're gonna wanna do with an underhand palm. You're gonna wanna make contact with the palm of your hand, not your fingers. You don't want your fingers to be rigid, but you want them to be solid. So you want them to, be kind of in a cup shape like that, but just to fit the ball in there, maybe a little bit beyond that. So you're not like grabbing it, but maybe like your fingers out like that. Just good palm contact, nice and easy. Let the ball hit your hand and just give it a little bit of a push, but don't attack the ball. Let the ball come in more than you're attacking it. So basic things like that. Then go to two per hand. I know this might be super dumbed down and overly easy for some of you. Make sure you're focusing on where that ball is hitting your hand. Make sure you're getting quality reps on this more than anything. You're really trying to find that sweet spot on your hand so that you can find this at any point in tournament. Don't just settle for a mediocre contact point. Find one that's like super, super optimal. Okay. Now, if you want to get a little bit fancy, we could do some back of the hand stuff. Really don't think that's it's not really a tournament skill. Maybe a little bit more eye-hand coordination stuff. You know, you could do like some of this. But I think instead what we're gonna do is start working on some setting, targeting. So in general, what I like to do is do hitting, setting, then serving. Defense, we're going to save for another video. Again, it's really hard to replicate that inside, a lot easier outside. More to come on that. I'm working on a way to actually share that information with you guys as well. It's just not really built for this right now. So we're going to switch between some hitting stuff, some setting stuff, and then some serving stuff, and we'll go all the way back around. This is just going to allow you to not get too bored with any one motion more than anything. And keep you progressing and moving through the actual, indoor practice itself. So, let's see here. So, we're gonna do some setting accuracy stuff. If you have high ceilings, this is a good time to take advantage of those. I unfortunately don't. I don't have a lot of clearance right here. So, what I'm gonna be doing is actually taking a knee on these things. And here's what we're gonna work on. We're gonna work on forward setting, backward setting, and then side setting. All of these we're going to do with whatever your dominant hand is. We're not going to worry about any offhand set stuff right now. In general, my philosophy is that 99% of your sets you should always take with your dominant hand. I'll explain as to why as we go through this. So gather as many balls as you can. I've got 7 here. Wish I had more. Really wish I had more right now. And we're just going to, from about 6 feet out, so you see here I've got my line and the net here, we're just going to work on actual accuracy. A good set is going to land directly in the middle of the net. Anything that hits the net would be considered a good set in general. So that's your main objective, is to hit the net itself. We're just going to work on literally just right to the net. Okay, so starting off with a bad set there. Make sure you give it enough air that it's coming down on the actual net. It doesn't really do you a whole lot of good to be practicing stuff that's kind of lasery like that, so make sure you give it some loft. Hit the actual net. Focus on that palm more than anything. Again, because this is stupid easy, make sure you're really working on doing this correctly more than anything. So right there, perfect. And then gather up balls. Half of this stream is going to be gathering up balls, but I'm sure you guys are doing the same thing at home. So if you got about 10 balls, go through about like 2 rounds of each one. So I'm going to do 2 rounds of my 7 here. We're going to go forward on all of these. A little bit light on that one. Extra good on that. Make sure you give a little bit with it too. If you guys played volleyball, when you pass, you're kind of almost giving with the ball as well. Do that on your set. You'll see me actually kind of dip a little bit, kind of put something into it. That was obviously not a great set, but get some finesse to it, but don't overcomplicate it. All right, Let me check chat real quick. If we got anything good here. Love this. All right, Spikeball Chris, what's up, my dude? CEO in the building. Everyone show some love for Chris. One's in the chat for the guy that made this all happen. All right, now we're going to be doing the exact invert of this. These are going to be backward sets. My philosophy on setting in general is that you need about 3 sets, and those are the ones you want to practice. You want to practice your straight on ones. You want to practice the exact opposite, which would be backwards. So squaring your back to the net, and then going there. And then your third one is going to be the side set, so at 90 degrees for those few times that you can't quite pick one way or the other. So at 90 degrees, it's going to go out there. So that's what we're doing here. We're going to work on the backwards sets. These are actually pretty key. These are going to save all of your out-of-system passes. Those are passes that go not towards the net initially, but away from the net. These are what save points, so make sure you're really practicing these as well. You're going to want to go right over your shoulder. So if I'm showing you guys, the ball's going to come from in front of you, and you want to go right over your shoulder. So you're going to square your shoulder up with the net, back directly to it, shoulder there, and then you're going to the net. Again, anything that hits the net would be a really good set. Even if it's hitting the rim, that's pretty decent. You want to aim for the middle, as middle as you can. Give your hitter a lot of options here. All right, that was like 6 out of 7, not bad. Give yourself a grade on these things. If you got 10, try and give yourself a letter grade there. So if you only got 8 out of 10, that's a C+. Want to be looking for some A's, obviously. I know all of you are out of school at this point, or you're taking online classes, and they've all gone to pass-fail, but we're giving out grades here. So same thing, going over the back. Short on that one. Jeez, 5 out of 7, not very good. All right. Now we're going to work on probably the toughest, the most inconsistent out of all these. They're the ones you'll have to do the least frequently as well, though. So I'll actually come over here so that you guys have a little bit of a better angle. So you're going to want to, your dominant hand, your dominant shoulder is going to be towards the net. So I'm right-handed, and you're going to be basically pushing the ball outward in that 90 degrees. So I'm going to be facing this way, still looking at the ball and then the net, so follow through on it. And you're basically doing this. In almost any other scenario, unless you're making a diving set that is just going to save the point, these are the 3 sets that you're going to do. This really helps with just being able to do repetition on sets. A lot of people say every set is unique, but if you do footwork, your sets will no longer be unique, they'll be routine. All right, got 6 out of my 7. Just off. So these are obviously the toughest. You're going to have the least consistency with these in general, unless you're sitting here really repping these out. That one was atrocious. Need to get back to tournaments, guys. All right, what's chat got to say? Green Samurai. Ooh, Spikeball stream. By the way, if you haven't yet, hit follow on this. If you're on mobile, there's a little heart in the top right of the screen. Hit that. Turn on the bell so that you get notified every single time that we go live. You don't want to miss any of these Spikeball streams. We're going to have even more coming to you, and then for the next 3 weeks, and hopefully more content even beyond that. Make sure you guys are following. Subscribe if you're nasty. Help support the channel, and especially once we take the show on the road when tournaments come back, it's going to allow streams like this to be covered all throughout the country, and we'll cover obviously all the top talent, and you can watch all of that on Twitch. So your support is integral to this. Make sure you follow. Okay. So we did some hitting, we did some setting. Now let's go ahead and do some serving. So let me take you over to this other angle. What's good, guys? Okay. So ideally, you get to serve against a wall. I want to show you guys some better angles here. So how do we feel about that? Looking pretty good. Okay, good. Now I'm going to try my best to not hit it. So this one, kind of same thing. You're going to do 2 racks of balls with a straight on serve. You're going to do 2 racks of balls with a step out or a serve that's going to go to the right. So if you do a standing cut, you can do that too. And then we're going to do 2 racks to the left. You can accomplish this in any way you want. I know like my straight on serve has routinely been an over the top type of spike. I now switched my serve up a little bit, so I'm going to be working on my push shot. Then we're going to work on going each way. All these serves are going to allow you to mix up your variation on your serve and make the other team, or it's going to make them a lot less simple to serve receive. So in general, you're going to want to mix that up. Just for anyone who is newer here, you're not allowed to serve higher than your opponent's outstretched hand, but you are allowed to serve as wide as you can legally do. Ball has to stay behind 6 feet, has to be contacted behind 6 feet, and your feet have to be behind 6 feet as well. Just some basics there. So if I was working on a push here, I would go through my motion here. So that one's a little bit low. For these especially like the first ones that you're doing here, don't hit the ball super hard. Really just go through a solid motion and just give yourself a good serve. Something at like 60-70% power. This tends to actually be not my forte and what I'm really working on myself. I'm a lot more consistent when I just kind of clobber the ball. But you want to work on those safety serves for when times get hard and you need to make a play. And shag it up. How's everyone doing? Oh, I wanted to let you guys know too. We're actually going to be doing a giveaway here. So if you got a phone, record a little bit of what you're doing here. We want to see what your guys' setups look like. You can record yourself doing some of this. Some of our best setups we're going to pick our favorite setup that somebody's got here, and they're going to be able to be entered to win a Blackout Pro set. So just email your setup video or or a picture or whatever you got to tournaments@spikeball.com, and our favorite one will get a blackout set, limited edition. All right, so that was the first rack. A lot better. Also, if anyone has any wonderful suggestions about anchoring the net, let me know. I've got this concept in my head of trying out some Velcro underneath that I'm going to test out. But if anyone's got any other ones, I've seen people do duct tape. Looking for something a little more permanent though. That's the one you want. Oh no, I knocked over my water bottle. Spilling water everywhere. You know when your mom said don't play ball in the house, this stream does not care about your mom's rule. There we go. Finally a little top on that. Alright, shake that up. We're going to go to the right hand now. Right hand you can accomplish a myriad of different ways. Personally, I'm working on 2 right now, so I'm going to do 1 rack at one rack at the other. Still need 1 more ball. So, other serving rules, if you guys didn't know, you're allowed 1 step in any direction, which establishes your pivot foot. Then both feet have to remain on the ground through the serve. So, you're allowed to take a step to one side, just 1, but then you can't lift that other foot up or this one. Both of them have to be behind 6 feet, of course, and your contact point still has to be behind 6 feet. Those rules still apply. So, the one that I usually get in order to get people, or to get the ball to go off to the right hand of the receiver would be my step out. So I'm going to step out pretty even, not along the circle, because my toss is going to go in front of me. That's going to create the room there. So I'm like maybe an inch behind the line, step out here, toss out in front. I'm personally going to work on a little bit of a cut, something a little more consistent because we're just starting here. Again, so 60-70%. Make sure you go through the entire motion here too. I see people try and like rapid fire through these, where they just like from here and grab another ball. Go through the entire motion of your serve, exactly how you would in a game. If anything, slow it down. Officially losing balls behind my dryer. So you saw that one get away from me there. Toss it too far. Make sure you're tossing it still in front of your body. And shat. Five. How many balls have you lost already, guys? I started with 10. And then I actually started this stream with 7 while I was warming up beforehand. I lost a couple. Where'd my 7th go? Alright, we're down to 6. Huh? Okay, question from the chat from Kieran. He says, do you find that you cut better from a step out or not from a step out? Personally, at this point, I have more reps on my step out, so I find that better. Technically, it doesn't matter what you do. It's more about the amount of spin you get on the ball. Obviously, if you take that step, you get access to a better angle. More than anything, though, I think what's actually confusing is the difference that you get on the ball. So you want that ball to be less predictable and actually jump further. So if you're going to do a cut serve, like people do from right here, that's entirely fine. The point is just whatever's going to get you that ball and get it to cut the most. I find that being able to swing my hips through is the key, and I find it easier to do that versus the people that do like the kick. I don't really fully understand that one myself. So I'm preferential to that. I've also been working on, you guys might remember this one from Preston back in the day, of doing something from here. This is basically still the same stance. This is the one I'm going to do this racket balls on. It's the same stance as this. You're just now actually on this side of the net, and the idea there is getting that differential where you're just hitting it straight and it cuts off to the right. Yes. So for those of you that are asking what is a cut serve, what the hell are you actually talking about? A cut serve is a serve that is going to not go straight off the net, but it's not a pocket. What you're doing is you're putting top spin and side spin on the ball simultaneously, and what it's going to do is basically look like this coming in. So if it's coming in straight, it's going to come in with all this spin. It's going to hit here, and instead of going straight as it would on a normal hit, if you were to just hit overhand, it's going to cut off to the side here. So it'll kind of catch and cut out. That's entirely legal. You just have to be able to, it's just kind of a finesse shot. It allows you to, you have to be able to put that spin on the ball. So you're cupping it, kind of coming over the top of it. Let's see if I can get you guys a good one here. Probably would have been easier from a step out here, but it should kind of dart off to the side almost unexpectedly. This is what a lot of the top players do when they're serving. So if that would have hit, that would have been great. But unfortunately, I got the rim on that one. Went out a little. Not a lot, but a little. Alright, that was my second rack on my right hand. So now let's move over to the left. So, for this one, I'm not going to tell you to use your left hand. I'm not that guy. My left hand is definitely the weakest part of my game, and you can accomplish a lot of things with your right hand. If I had to go back and learn it all over again, I might learn some of this with my left. But in general, there are a couple ways to make the ball go to one side or the other. Obviously, you can just do a left serve like that. Obviously, you put it on. I just didn't want to go through the motion. You can do a step out, like a backhand type of situation here, where it's almost like a tennis backhand, but you're following through like that. That one's personally my favorite. Or you can do what has kind of gone more out of favor, but best player in the world, by my standards anyway, still uses it, the fuego. So almost like in tennis where you put the opposite side spin on the ball from your dominant hand. You're basically doing that with a spike ball. So you're going off to the side, you're reaching across your body, and then putting spin on it that way. So that would be a wang. Obviously put it on the net. That's not my specialty either. I'll personally be doing backhands for this rack, but do whichever one feels most comfortable for you. If you don't know which one, because you're newer to this, pick whichever one seems the coolest to you. Just start there. See what feels natural. So for a lot of my backhands, I'll actually start from a position like this. Bad example. There we go, a little better. I'm not going to count that rack. We'll do another one after that. Okay, I'm going to do another rack here. You want. Jeez. I'm getting one on here. That's the problem with going at half speed. We're going to do full speed serves in just a little bit, so make sure you're still kind of warming that up first and foremost. All right, going to do one more here, and then we'll go back to hitting. All right, check up. And then I'm going to go through some check questions, so this will be a great time to put one in if you got one. All right, well, let's bring you guys over to the corner. All right, we're going to go back to the wall for this one as well. So if you need to move around your basement like I do, now would be a great time to do that. Okay. All right, let's see what chat's got to say here. Look at the note. Chris, you already have the perfect gentleman serve. Change nothing about it. I love it. I'll try to bust out another lucky cookie at the end for you, but obviously that one's probably the toughest to hit alive. Okay, Alex also asked a good question with the idea behind when you're choosing certain serves to use. I asked, are you more focused on your serves or on your opponent's? Answer's both. We're going to go over that a little bit more when we loop back around to serving, okay? So hold me accountable to that question. I will, in fact, answer it. Okay. Wait a minute. Actually, we're gonna go back to the wall. Okay, so I'm gonna do this in a corner personally. This is just gonna give me a better chance or a visual representation of how I'm doing on things. What we're gonna do is just do simple drops, almost like if you know like flips in baseball where someone's just kneeling, throwing the ball to you and you're hitting it out there. You're basically giving yourself flips, but you're focusing specifically on where you want the ball to end up. So you're gonna work on a shot that goes to your right, a shot, or you're gonna work on a wrap shot, which is gonna go behind you. You're gonna work on a standard shot, which is gonna go 90 degrees, gonna go even with your hips. And then you're gonna work on a push shot, which is gonna go further off to the right. So if I were to do that here, a pull shot would go backwards, it would go something like that. A standard shot would go out, and a push shot would go towards you guys. So you're working on that full 90 degrees, or pushing a ball through the full 90 degrees there basically. So, or full 180. So one's gonna go back towards you, so you're gonna wrap it behind your leg there. The other one's just gonna be a very standard shot, and the other one a push. So when I do this in the corner here, I'm gonna get a good idea of whether or not I've accomplished that looking at the wall. So I'm gonna set up so that my target for my straight shot, my just standard shot, is the corner. That means my pull is gonna hit this wall over here. It means my push is gonna hit that wall. So let me get my balls right here. So if I did a standard shot, I'm gonna go right into the corner, do a pull shot, should go into that wall, and a push shot, drop my shoulder, and it'll go to that wall. Those are the basics right there. So go through a rack, you're doing pull, standard, push. Pull, standard, push. On pull shots in general, it helps to move your leg out of the way. So if I were gonna pull it this way, let's say, pull your leg out of the way, then your standard will just go straight, you're gonna keep it there. And then if you're gonna pull any leg on your push, pull your dominant leg out so that you can push the ball forward like that. All right, let's do 4 racks of that, whatever you got. If you don't have a lot of balls, do a couple more. All right, so I'm lined up here. If you guys want, you can really you can up the intensity with which you're hitting these balls here too. I'm gonna back mine off a little bit too, so that I can do that. Cool. That was dead in the center. It's exactly what you want. So especially on that push shot, this is the toughest part. You want to drop your body, not your shoulder. So when you're trying to create that angle, go down and then hit it. Don't drop your shoulder to do it. So if I was going to do a push shot, that'll be like towards you guys here. I'm going to drop down, push it from a place of confidence. All right, another good question in chat from the director of USA Spikeball, or the SRA, I suppose now, Jack Scotty. He says, how do you manage your load specifically and the number of reps that you're doing? I really go off of feel. I try to keep myself to like making sure that I'm doing stuff every couple of days at a minimum. But in general, as soon as I start to have problems, I don't push myself too much, especially when it comes to your shoulder health. You don't really want to mess around with that. Season's really long. Shoulder injuries are forever. I already have shoulder injuries that I'm dealing with from past sports, so I'm really not trying to like push it all too much. But that's where, when you're having those problems, you can go through the motions at a much slower speed. You can do these basic things, which in general you're going to do a lot better if you can do the easy things well, as opposed to the complicated things sporadically well or not. So don't work on always just going for the best cut serve in the world. Work on doing the standard hits better. So especially when you're injured. All right, where else are my... Oh, we're back, we got 7. All right, gonna do another one here. Pull, standard, elbow it, push, standard, push, pull. Where'd that go? That sounded like it got stuck somewhere. Standard, push. Try and keep your drop as consistently as possible too. Keep it right on the outside of the net there. It's a lot easier to like cheat too much on yourself. I have a tendency to do that because you know what shot you're going for. Oh, try that one again. Standard. All right, gather them again, guys. So you got 5. The rest of these things. So this is why you guys got to start with as many balls as you possibly can. All right, I'm back to 6. I feel okay about that. Got any other questions here so far? We got Tyler in here. Trying to get Tom Goulet approval on the app. Yeah, you gotta get Tom Goulet approval, dude. This is not good for Buzzkill. Yeah, he doesn't like caps, so you gotta be careful about that. All right, so after that, let's see, should we go back to setting? No, okay, so we're gonna go to serving, and then we're gonna do kind of a creative angle from there, okay, cool? So, serving, we're gonna go full on, and you're gonna mix up your serves even more. We're also gonna incorporate drops as well, okay? So let's bring you back over here. This will be the final place, because both of our drills are gonna be from here. Okay. So, Mike's over here, so I'm going to be talking a little bit in between you guys, okay? So, we're going to work on incorporating all the things right here. Exactly what I believe Alex was asking before, or maybe it was Kieran, who was saying, what are you taking into account when you're doing a serve? Are you taking into account your arsenal, what you're feeling, what your opponent's feeling? Big thing is just to have as much of a mix-up game as possible. So we're gonna do that here. So the only rule is you can't do the same serve twice in a row. But you should do a healthy mix of what you actually think you would do in a tournament. So if you have your standard serve that's going straight, that's probably gonna be about 50% of your serves that you're gonna do. But especially because you get a fault on your first serve, you should be trying a little bit more to mix up some new things as well. So the only rule for this is you can't do the same serve twice. Also try and incorporate some drops and some sort of fake in there. So, so drop serves in general would look something like that, except you would put it on the net probably. That is entirely legal, just has to hit the net legally. So if I were going to do, let's say, step out cut, I want to sure dang cut though, and then I want to work in maybe a fake flango, go back around, maybe step out, a fake drop, try and get that drop, I really need a better drop there. So do these at full speed as well too. Take your time on all these. Make sure your net's set up right. So if I was gonna do, something out of here, so we're 100% now because our shoulders are all warmed up. We're only gonna do this for about 5 minutes, and then we're gonna go into my favorite drill, which I just call creativity. And I know what some of you are thinking, Chris, not known for your creativity out there. Yes, but one, we're all working on it. Two, it's the most fun one. What serves are you guys all working on here? What are some of your favorites? What are you adding to your arsenal? And what's your go-to? This is the one I'm specifically working on. Just basically everything from a new stance. I think it's going to allow me to push a little bit wider here towards you guys. But then if I hit a good straight cut, should still go pretty far to the right. Ooh, that would have been it though. While I'm finishing shagging up this one too, I want to mention to you guys may have seen this in your Spikeball emails, on the Spikeball page, on the Instagram, but Spikeball is actually working with, I think it's Feed America. They're selling American standard sets. So not pro sets, but the standards now, America sets, and a portion of those go to charity amidst all of this. So I think you can type, yes, wait, what's the check command for that? By Spikeball America? Yes, what? I'll have an answer for you shortly. Okay, it's exclamation point buy stars and stripes. So type that in the chat. You get a link there. You can find them on spikeball.com. But give to a good cause right now. I know I'm personally going to buy one as soon as I get my final check from my job in today, or a couple of days. I know we're all saving up for our for as soon as the toilet paper is available, but there are plenty of people that are worried about things more than toilet paper right now. So make sure that you're giving back at a time like this. We're all in this one together, all right, guys? up. Let's do one more round. Another thing I want to throw out there philosophy-wise when it comes to practicing, practice things you aren't good at. Don't practice to show how good you are at anything. Practice exactly what you need to work on. Now, I'm not saying ignore a lot of the standard things. We just did some very standard drills right there. But if you've got the sickest cut serve in the world, don't just go out there and practice your cut serve. If you've got all the sick defensive ups, don't only practice defense. If you're the best setter in the world, don't only practice that. Don't practice the things that make you comfortable. Practice a lot of things that make you uncomfortable. That's why I spend more time on my new serve stance right here than pretty much anything else. That's something that I'm actively changing about my game. So that's what needs the most rep work. Had a little something on it. A little bit. And a final one. We're going to try some sort of flip it. Everybody flip it. It was sick. Actually, don't even know if it was that good. I was entirely not looking at the net. I just know it was legal. Okay. So shag up this final time. We're going to go into our final drill. Since I got to keep this to an hour for you guys. I just call it creativity. Creativity because your goal is to do a creative hit in this option, okay? So, all you're gonna do is you're gonna work on hitting from an approach from the net. Your approach is gonna be the standard bump set that you would do. And then you're gonna bump set as you advance towards the net. And then you're gonna hit a shot. So very standard, something that we're not gonna do here. We're gonna be like bump, set, spike. So that would be very non-creative. These are things that obviously are very good in tournament. You wanna work on your standard hits. Your goal is to do what you would do as your second, third, or even fourth option there. So assume that your best shot there, your most reliable shot there, is blocked by somebody. You have a defender that's right here, playing perfect body defense. If you hit it there, they will dig the ball. What would you do instead? So if that were the case here, I might push it a little bit that way. So your goal is to not do whatever your first standard option is. Take approaches from different sides of the net. Start every single one with the opposite hand. So that one was my right hand. So this one I'm going to start with my left. Be left, right. I might go for something like that. That's a shot that I would never do in tournament. If you guys, or that in years past I would have never done in tournament. So we're working on the options that are still solid, but that are just one step away from what you might have done before. A little run through drop shot on that. This is going to get you a little bit more focused on your footwork here, because you're going to have to make a decision late. Because first you're going to approach the net, you're going to see, oh, what I would like to do is this. But instead, now I have to do, let's say I want to push it between my legs. Well, now I probably got to move a leg out of the way. Ideally, you wouldn't hit it like I just did, but I might have to pull or something like that. So you're working on a lot of unique footwork here. It's also the most replicatable to an actual tournament, and something that you should work on. Don't just work on being able to spike while you're situated at the net right here. There are a lot of situations where you're going to have to be coming in towards the net. So you're coming in, I'm sure favoring that little the little lefty tweener there, huh? So you're basically, I mean, and attack it from literally any angle you want there. Just grab the ball, walk about 6 feet away, and just do something that you wouldn't normally do. Don't do your standard shot ever. Oh, I need to clean my floor. Get some shreds. What else we got going on here? Oh, someone clipped me. Let's go. We're gonna have insane serves after this quarantine. That's my goal here, is for no one to come out with like dumb serves. Don't serve. Do other things. Work on your standard stuff, obviously. Maybe have one thing in your arsenal. Don't sit there and try and break the game. That is not the point here. See, sometimes you can get too creative like that, but that's good. Now let's see if I was going to do that again. What might I do? Still not hitting the ball very well, apparently. This is also just going to get your heart rate going a little bit more. It's a lot more movement than we've been doing with most of the other things. This is how I usually like to finish it. Pants in the way. How's everyone else doing on this one? Hit me with some things in chat here. We're going to do this for like 2 more minutes. And then we're going to take a little bit of a breather. And I got some announcements, okay? I'm trying to lefty flick back in. Oh, I didn't go off. Come on. Just trying to get a little drop here. All right, do 5 more. Make them interesting. All right, 3 more for me. No, I want that one so bad. 2 more. Okay, 1 more. Whew. Okay. Good stuff, guys. Go ahead and shag up. Now let's hit chat for a little bit and let's talk some theory and let you know what we're doing for the rest of the night. Okay? All right. How was that, guys? Feel good to get a little bit of reps in for the first time in a while, probably. Also, quick thing. How many of you are doing this in your house, inside? How many of you are doing this in your garage? And how many of you are doing this outside? What does your space specifically look like? I think a lot of people who are in nicer places, like not cold Chicago, have nice outdoor places. I'm gonna highly recommend that you do something inside. Doesn't have to be this elaborate, doesn't have to be as big as mine is. But something that's weatherproof, I think, is actually very important. That way there's no excuses for whether or not you actually practice. I know a lot of times we'll be like, all right, like a week in advance, we'll be like, all right, I'm gonna play Thursday and Friday. And then it rained Thursday and Friday, I'd be like, I just wanna go do the weekend. That's how you don't have any, that's how you like get away with not practicing. So I think try and build something in your garage. Garage was my old place. It was only big enough to have a half serving circle though. This allows me to actually do a lot. And hypothetically, whoever wants to come visit me for the Chicago tournaments, we can actually do service even here, which I think is great. I'm working on coming up with some drills that I'll actually be able to practice serve receive as well. And that's what I want to get to here. So, well, wait, let me get to some things here. All right, we got Spikeball Tyler in his basement. Tries to get outside. Daly hates waiting for good weather. Yeah, I mean, we tried to go to Ohio a couple weeks ago, and that didn't work. Where it's 40 plus degrees, you go outside, all right. Outside for serving, inside for hitting and setting. Good stuff. Yeah, I mean, definitely outside for above anything else defense. You just need space, unless you're going to only practice body defense positioning, which would be when you are at the net and trying to block it with your body. Instead of trying to run down the ball, you're more almost like a block in volleyball. You're just doing that with your body in Spikeball. So, a little bit of information there. Oh, once a week you get to go to a racquetball court still? Are you still finding a racquetball court? If I could build one in my basement, that's what I would do. Although, I might want a ping pong table more than... I mean, I think they have real answers. This is going to be a Spikeball practice area / gym. Ping pong table would be sick, though. Definitely need that. Daily, are they open? Yeah, my thoughts exactly. Okay, so thank you guys all for tuning in. This isn't over though. We're gonna do an after party, Q&A, and just party in general. I want to talk to the Spikeball community on my stream. So if you guys don't know, I stream independent Roundnet content. So outside of the company. I do a lot of tournament previews, game analysis, that type of stuff. Obviously, we're a little lighter on that content, but I thought this was such a good idea that actually next week I'm going to do those 3 like I was saying. So I'm going to do another one of these for specifically for intermediate players, one of these specifically for advanced players, and one of these specifically for the premier level. Dates to be announced, so make sure you follow me on Instagram at @ChornSpikes. If you type in ! Seahorn Spikes here, I'll help you out in chat. You can follow me over on Twitch. So we're going to continue that here. So if you have any questions specifically, this will be any level. So whether you have questions as a newer player or you are a premier player that wants to get some tips real quick, I'm going to do direct Q&A over there for about 30 to 45 minutes. And then make sure you are following that regardless of whether or not you tune into that, because I'm going to be live doing these for a couple of weeks. So that's where we're going with this, but I want to thank everyone for participating in this. That was great. Spikeball Tyler for following. Make sure you guys, again, follow right now. Oh shoot, you were just 1,000th follower. Let's go. Spikeball Tyler, our lucky number 1,000th follower. Let's go. Yeah, make sure you follow so that you don't miss any of these. Next week, I think it's Women in Roundnet. Maybe it's, or maybe it's Roundnet clubs. I don't know. But we got like 3 more of these. They're going to be Thursdays at 8:30 Eastern. So definitely do that. You can type in a stream schedule here. I'm going to click on that and see what we're doing here. Oh, well, yeah, here. Make sure you click on that because you'll get reminders for the streams. So that's definitely good. Oh, it's clubs with Logan and Taylor. You're definitely not going to want to miss that. If you're a college baller or a high school baller, or you're looking to join a club competitively in any area of the country, this is going to be incredibly helpful. A lot of resources to connect with people after this is all over, of course. And we're going to go over some theory as well for how to practice over on my stream as well. So if you're sitting here going like, hey, this was all great, I'm glad I got moving, I want to know some theory behind what I should be working on, this would be the perfect time to do that. So I'm going to say adios here. Again, make sure you go follow me over on Twitch, Spikes. Again, I'll type that in chat for you guys. Make sure you follow that link. I will be live over there within the next 5 minutes, and then we'll just start right away. I'm just going to go through chat, and we'll go from there. But thank you guys so much. This has been the second installment of the Spike at Home series. Make sure you catch the other 3 in the coming weeks. Sayonara, guys.